Advil. So I know between the two which one is Advil and which is Zyrtec. But in case I would have a smaller cylinder that I'm not sure, I have a bump dot on the very top of this. And this is letting me know that I would always have a bump dot on the top of my Advil as opposed to something else. And just to show you how easy it is to label, I do have a small sheet of those orange bump dots. It's just a little 2x2 square. And the little dots you can just peel right off from the backing, and nice and sticky. And I'm going to take this, and with my hands, I'm going to go ahead and put it just on the top of the Advil bottle and just give it a good press. Now I know this is a clean surface. If you have something that might be a little gummy, you may want to clean it first with a little Windex or alcohol and make sure it's a clean surface and dry. So now I have it right on top, and that was not hard for me to do. It was fairly simple to just peel it off and stick it on the top. Now what I have next, a couple of options, even though this is the larger economy size. If you can see it, there's got a big red area here. It could signal to you that this is Tylenol, but if you have no usable vision, what you can do is put a rubber band on this one, and then we know always that the rubber band indicates Tylenol. So what you're doing is you're setting up a system. You are being consistent. So how you would mark one medication is the same way you would do every single time, so that you're training your brain to just know that this is it. If you do have a little bit of vision left, you could print a giant label and put it right on the front. And if you can read this, that's great. If not, the rubber band is a super inexpensive way to do the labeling. Just be consistent. I love rubber bands. You can do just about anything with it. Now, we're going to move on to, sometimes you can find a different shaped container. This one used to be from Publix. They don't make them anymore, but if you can find some at Michael's, this can be helpful. It's a triangular shaped container. And this is nice because of the shape. So if you can find something like that to help organize, that's great as well. Now we're going to move over to some of our medication bottles. And I'm going to line these up a little bit.
Do you want this one with the large print, or do you want to wait?
Which one?
Or you want me to do that?
No, that's with the ScriptTalk.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. So one of the ones here, where's my one with the little paper clip?
Oh,
here we go.
Why would you put a paper clip on there?
Well, here's the thing. Part of getting yourself organized and things labeled is you may have a situation where you're flying solo and you need to know right away which medication is which before you get home. You may not have a smartphone where you could do Seeing AI or some kind of reader in place. So I like to use this as an example because it is from the veterinarian. It's for my little guy, Bentley. He fell off the bed last year and hurt his shoulder. So when I was at the vet's, it wasn't broken, but he needed a muscle relaxer and a painkiller. And they were both the same size little pill. And one was for the morning, one was for the evening. So what the technician did at the time is she took a paper clip and taped the paper clip to the bottle so that I could feel that this was the morning med and his painkiller, so that I would know that. And by default, the second bottle had nothing. So I knew that was the muscle relaxer for the evening. So like I said, it doesn't have to be something expensive and elaborate. It can be, but it could be as simple as having someone label it immediately for you with just some Scotch tape and a paper clip.
Well, that's a good point you make also about pets, because you will have medications for your pets, and you need to talk about keeping those separate and learning how to label those differently than your own medication,
Right.
so that you don't accidentally ingest something you shouldn't.
Right. Well, and there again, we'll get to organizing again. The same place, be consistent. I have a red tin on my kitchen counter that has some treats and has his leash, and I would keep his medications in there so they are completely separate. And that's the same thing with for myself. Your medicine cabinet at home, if that's what you're using, and you're not using a med minder, you're still putting your bottles into the medicine cabinet, choose the same place to put it. I have taken thyroid medication for, I don't know, 40 years. And I always keep that thyroid medication on the bottom shelf in my medicine cabinet, right-hand side, and I do have seasonal allergies, and my Zyrtec goes right next to it. So that's the morning, a little Zyrtec and a little thyroid medication, lower right corner. It's always in the same spot. And that way, you're just, not that you ever want to not pay attention, but if you're consistent and put it in the same place each time, it's really going to be helpful to stay organized. And you're not scrambling to figure out which is which if you've forgotten if you did a rubber band or a bump dot.
So what would you suggest if you have more than one person in the home, either with low vision or medication in the medicine cabinet?
I would say designate a shelf.
Mm-hmm.
If I were sharing a medicine cabinet, if I'm the first shelf, then don't put anything on my shelf. That's my shelf. They could use the second shelf, something like that, or vice versa. Just keep it the same. And that's really something where you have to be a self-advocate. There's no way around it. If you want to be independent, you have to stand up and just say, I need it to work this way, and I need this shelf for myself. And I certainly think our loved ones will understand that and work with us. So anyway, that was a very good question. Yeah, we have to share our space, don't we, sometimes? Yes. So on to some of your other medications. What we were talking about earlier with the variety of touch dots and bump dots, here's a couple of examples what you can do. This particular one has one of those touch dots and a bump dot, but there's a big square here. And if you can't see it, you can certainly feel that square. And here's a more flattened bump dot next to it. So this could give you, if you do have some usable vision, this is a black square. So that gives you some contrast off of the white lid. That could be helpful to you, but otherwise let your fingers do the walking and feel that little bump there. We have another one with just a single touch dot here, bump dot on the top. So if you can't see it, you're going to just give it a feel. The other thing I want to point out with this is, more than likely, if you're on something like me, 40 years with a thyroid medication, I label the lids because if I get a refill, I want to use the new bottle and the new information that's on the prescription bottle, and I can just easily put the twist off the top and do my labeling system on the next bottle. So that's something where you're not wasting your touch dots or bump dots and sharing it from one to the next, and then keeping your information up to date on the bottle itself. And I do have an eye drop one that I want to talk about. There's not really a good spot to put a bump dot or touch dot on an eye drop container. So what I do is I put mine on the side bottle, and a lot of times, whether it's glaucoma or macular, whatever eye disease you might have, sometimes you're using more than one eye drop. And it's great that they come in little bottles with different colored caps, but if you can't see the color of the cap, it's kind of a moot point. So for me, this one's bromonidine, and I've got a touch dot on this on the side, and this is the one that's going to get labeled. and by default, the other one will have nothing on it. So I can't confuse the color because some days I can see color, other days it's a little off. So to be on the safe side, this is the one that gets the bump. And so yes, you do have to replace this when you get a refill, but it's well worth it.
Were you also talking about temperature?
Temperature, yes. One of my eye doctors recommended these eye drops can be stored in the refrigerator. And what that does is it has a little cooler temperature for you. And sometimes what happens is your eyes might become a little desensitized and you're not feeling if you got the drop in there or not. And you all know if you're using eye drops that every drop counts because, you know, if you take 4 drops to get 1 in, you're going to run out of your prescription too soon. But at any rate, that little bit of coolness when you're putting the drop in, it tells you right away. And it's actually a little refreshing to have that cool drop go in. I mean, certainly I would ask your eye doctor if there's some eye drop out there that should not go in the refrigerator, but I know there's quite a few that they actually recommend. So that might be a way to help make sure that you're getting the proper dosage into your eyes. You know, even if you have just a little bit of usable vision, if those drops are helping you, we want to maintain that eye health as long as we can. And I'm going to feel over here. Oh, one of the rubber bands if we wanted to label something else.
Got 2 dots on top.
And here's the difference. This is a double dot on top and a rubber band. So we're going a little crazy here. The one thing that you want to do is, like, if you're choosing one square dot for this, a bump dot for this, keep it simple. Don't overdo what you're doing. By default, like I said before, if you don't have it marked, that's just as good of a message and a labeling system when you're keeping everything together. We'll go back to the eye drops for just a second. I don't use this, but some people need a little bit of help getting some navigation. This is an eye drop guide that you can put the guide. You put the eye drop bottle into the bottom. You can put on and off the cap from the top. And if you take the top off, you're going to use the guide to line it up on your eye. I'm not going to actually do it. I'm not touching my eyes right now, I hope. And give a little squeeze and get your drop in that way. I've been doing drops for many, many years, and I do think it's important to talk to your eye doctor or the technician that's working with your eye doctor, that they can teach you how to use your pinky finger and just make a little pocket and get your drop in there safely. But that's your choice. If this would be easier, it's here for you. If you want to ask your technician to show you some better techniques on how to get that drop in the little pocket of your eye, that's a good idea too. These are all about choices, you know, what is going to work for you. So this is like a little toolbox of rubber bands, paper clips, bump dots, puff paint.
Yeah, we're
While we're on puff paint. So it's what you're comfortable with, and you make that choice because this is your organization. This is how it's going to work best for you, and what works for me may not work for you. You may have another way of doing it, and if you want to share some ideas, we can do that at the end and what works for you, because we're all ready to learn and get some new ideas and have you share. This is if you have some liquid medication that you need. It's kind of like a little plastic tube with a kind of scooped out spoon at the end of it. It's something that you might have used with your kids growing up to give them a little liquid Tylenol or a little liquid cough syrup or something. And it may be that you have that as well. And I'm not sure if you can see or not, but is that the teaspoon or half teaspoon?
This is a 2 teaspoon. It's marked at one teaspoon here.
So there, the puff paint, when you put puff paint on, it adheres to what you've put it on. You do need to let it set overnight so that it becomes firm. And then this little line of puff paint is adhered, it's become firm, and you can feel where that line is. Now, if you have a little bit of usable vision, a lot of times these syrups or whatever have a color, and you can tell that there's a color difference from the clear plastic to that line. So it can give you a little bit of judgment on it. The other thing about liquids is if you get some practice with some water first so you're not wasting your medicine, but you can get a feel for the weight of it at your 1 teaspoon mark. So that can be a clue to you too. If you don't have any vision left and you need that liquid measure, you can get a feel for the weight of it, because there will be a difference between nothing and 1 teaspoon and then all the way up. So any other tips on how to do this are great. What do we have next here?
This one is the bulb syringe.
The bulb syringe. I think this one is a little difficult to handle. It's an option for your liquid cough syrup, whatever.
Yeah, if you have a smaller bottle and just can get right down inside.
Yeah,
of it,
you can. And it's kind of like a kitchen baster,
yeah,
in that you have a squishy bulb at the top that forces air out. And it's like a rubber ball. And then when you release it, it sucks up whatever liquid that you have it stuck in. So if you can get the right pressure on the bulb each time to get it up and get a teaspoon in there, that could be an option as well.
yeah, you'd have to mark that one as well.
Yes.
It's not marked.
Now our battery has been acting a little weird with our talking thermometer, which I know people are checking their temperatures right now. And so this one isn't going to be totally accurate because it was acting funky yesterday. But you can order online, whether it's through Maxi Aids or you can Google Amazon, a talking thermometer. I'm not sure if it's going to speak for us.
It's the under the tongue thermometer.
So I am 91.3 degrees Fahrenheit.
A little cold.
I don't know if you can hear that or not. So there's an on and off button at the base of it. And then it's got the longer probe that you would put under your tongue and wait for it to beep that your temperature is ready. So I think we have sampled this so many times, the poor thing is given out. But you can find different styles of this, whether through Maxi Aids online or Amazon. And it might be something that you want to have on hand, not just because of the coronavirus right now, but just to have on hand to check if you are running a fever or, need to seek some medical attention. So these are a useful little device when they've not been used and abused. I'm going to turn over this portion to Terry. She's got another method for medication. You want to do the script talk and then go to this?
I think I'll go to that first.
Okay, so we're going to turn over for a moment to Terry, and she's going to talk about Envision America and script talk, and I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so I have a brochure here. It's called ScriptTalk Station. It's kind of it looks like a little CD-sized machine that you can get sent to you. It's on loan. It's a free program, and it's called ScriptTalk. It has some buttons on the top. You just turn it on. You're going to set your medication on top, and it's going to tell you everything about that medication. Now, this is something you'll have to set up with your pharmacy. So they will, you let them know you want to do that, and they put a little microchip on the bottom of your prescription bottles. And then when you set it on top of the reader, which I'll show you in just a second here, let me turn it on. And there is a volume control on this, so you can set it as loud as you want. It also has a headset.
ScriptTalk Station ready.
There we go. It's ready. So they put the sticker on the bottom of your prescription, and you just set it on top. And then you press read.
Patient John J. Smith. Medication amoxicillin 500 milligram tablet. Instructions: take 1 tablet 3 times daily. Quantity 30. Prescription date May 11th, 2016.
Okay, so you kind of get the idea with that. It comes with Large labels also for easier reading. But this way you can, if say you have other people in your house as well, it will tell you who the patient is. So you can use this for multiple people. But it just reads it. And we actually found out yesterday that there's an app, if you for you savvy, tech savvy people, that you can download called ScriptTalk. Let me see if I can grab it here. I downloaded it on my phone. So you go to the App Store and you download it, and it is exactly the same thing. So it looks like this. Oh, let me see if I can find the icon is like a mortar and pestle, and it says RX on it. And then when you open it up, it has that same picture and says ScriptTalk. So what you do on here, you can also find pharmacies that are participating in this. So let me go ahead and click on that. So you can put in your zip code, and then you can set a search radius. So I would start with the closest, so 5 miles away, 10 miles away, until you find one that has it for you. Now you can get the talking labels, which we just did, large print, and you can also get Braille. So on this app, it tells you what your pharmacy offers. You can also call them and go in and get started right away getting these put on. When you talk to, let me see. So on here, it just shows you all the different ones, and there's 3 little buttons, tells you what type of service they offer. So your phone will act as this machine. So if you're tech savvy, you can get started with this very soon. So what we would do is there's a scan button up in the top of your screen on your phone, and you touch it, and then it tells you to hold the prescription over top of it, just like the other one. Oh, let me turn it up.
500 milligrams tablet. Instructions. Take 1 tablet 3 times daily. Quantity 30. Fill date May 11th,
Okay.
2016.
So it's kind of the same. It lists it out for you on the screen, and it will also tell you exactly what it is, how to take it. And if you need the machine, you can call Envision. Like I said, it is free. They loan it to you as long as you need it. You talk to your pharmacy and find out if they can get you the little magnetic, I guess, what are they? Microchips on the bottom of the bottle. You can see that on here. It says RFID. And then they also attach the large label. And on the large label, there's also a QR code. So if you have a phone with a QR reader, you can use that to tell you what's in this bottle. Okay. And Envision, I guess I'll say that. Envision America. It's 1-800-890-1180. Or you can also go online and do envisionamerica.com. And they have other products on there. This is the one that is free. They do have other products, but this is something that can help you with your medication management. Okay.
Well, if I could have you hold your phone up again, you know, for those that sometimes, you know, when you have reduced vision and you're trying to take a picture of something or scan something, sometimes getting the document lined up is the hardest part of the whole thing. You know, you start low and come up a little bit, but with this, you seem to really just hold the phone flat and sit the medication bottle right there on top of it like a little platform. And that to me seemed really easy, that you're not turning your phone this way and that to try to get a camera shot, that it was a really easy, just phone flat, little prescription bottle on top.
You have to use it at the top. It says to use it where the earpiece is. So when you're holding your phone and you're listening, it's kind of at the top of the phone. But this way you can also see, you know, your phone and scroll through different things. And it also saves your history.
Now, you said that there was a listing on your phone of different pharmacies. Could you give us a couple examples?
Yes, so this ScriptTalk, there's a history, and then the next line down, it says find pharmacies. So it says participating pharmacies. if you put in your zip code and your radius, it will show you. So I'll put in my zip code. 34243, 5-mile radius. And then there's a little button at the bottom that says submit. So I submit it. And then it brings up colors. It looks like everyone is, let's see. It tells you in the green, it says results. There's 11 pharmacies that offer this within 5 miles. So we have Publix on University. We have Publix on 53rd, Sam's Club, Winn-Dixie. And they tell you, like I said, again, the little, I don't know if you can see that, but there's 3 little circles. One is for the ScriptTalk, one is for Braille, and one is for large print labels. So that shows you on there which ones they offer. And it looks like most of them do offer the ScriptTalk. Okay. Do I need to say anything else about that?
I'm not sure. The only question I might come up with is for those of us that use a voiceover on their phone. I think I would like to test it out with a voiceover program to see how that works. We could maybe put one of our AT professionals, Randy Reed, to work on that to let us know.
Are you listening?
I hope so. So anyway, that just seems like such a nice, easy thing. And this little compact disc size base, what you have is a little compartment in the back that it runs on batteries. They also send you a cord with this that if you want to leave it plugged in your bathroom, you have that. But with the batteries, if you wanted to travel lighter and once we can go on vacation again, you could easily slip this in your carry-on and have it with your medications.
And I also saw this base is free. Like I said, it's easier probably if you use your phone, if you know how to do that. But they do also offer other products to go along with this, like a carrying case, which is insulated. So if you have any medications that need to stay cold, you can do that. But I think it was like $25 for that. So that's it for the ScriptTalk. And part of what we want to discuss next with that is you need to know what you're putting in your pill sorters. So let me just talk about one more thing here. We do have CVS. I don't know other pharmacies that do the little pill packs for you. So you give them your prescriptions and your supplements if you want, and they send these to you, or you pick them up? You pick them up?
They're sent to you. It's like a little blister pack.
Little blister pack has your medications all together, so you can get it daily medications, like if you have supplements and just maybe one medication, or you can get them to set it up if you need it morning, noon, and night. And as you can see on this one, on the front of the blister pack, it tells you what medications are in it and the date that I guess you would be taking it. And then this one is for midday. So you might have one for breakfast, and then all you have to do, especially if you're leaving the house, is rip off the ones you need, take them with you, and they're already labeled for you as to what's in them and what time to take them.
And that is set up for the month. So you would have a whole line of blister packs, and you would start with, morning, noon, dinner, evening, whatever you need. It's according to your needs. And they set up those blister packs. So it really is a good check and balance that if you forgot for a moment, did I take my medication? You'll know, because if the blister pack is still there, no, you didn't take them. So you need to get back on track and get those taken. And it's just really such a nice, easy thing. And this particular sample is, from CVS. But check with your pharmacies. There are multiple pharmacies and companies out there that provide this, and there is not an additional charge, at least with a CVS. And it's a great organizer if you're taking multiple meds and you need a little organization. So I think it's a great thing if you want to give it a try and you have multiple medications. See how it works for you.
Okay, and on that note, we have some pill sorters here that if you don't want to subscribe to that and you want to do it yourself, We do have different pill sorters here. There's the very large one here that just has the days of the week with the big letter on the front. So if you have some low vision, you might be able to see what day you're on and just, put all of your pills. They're very large capacity. Looks like there might be 1.5 inches by 1 inch deep. So you can put quite a few pills and supplements in those. They do make some that if you have multiple medications you need during the day, this one has morning, noon, evening, and bed. So if you need 3 times a day, you can place them in these. And these are also pretty deep, probably 1 by 1 inch squares. And they're divided by day as well. So Sunday has 4 compartments together. Monday has 4 compartments together. There's also some here that have Braille on them and raised lettering. So maybe you can see that better or possibly feel it. And when you're setting up your medications, maybe like for organization, you might put the bump dot on the morning. So you're putting it in the right slot. And you have bump dots all across the top. So you know when morning medication is, because some you might only take at bed or some, so you want to make sure you're getting the right time of day with the right pills in it. And these are very nice also. Like I said, they're broken down by day. So there's 4 compartments, morning, noon, evening, and bed. And we were talking yesterday about how easy it would be if you're going to be out for the day to just grab this 1 day's worth of pills and throw it in your purse, in your pocket, in your car, if they tolerate the heat. But that way you never go and you're out longer than you think you should be. And then you get held up, maybe you miss your bus, something, and then you don't have your pills for the right time of day. So this is a good option. This one is pretty big.
So what's the size on that?
The whole thing is probably, looks like 10 inches by maybe 6 or 7 inches.
Okay.
So each of the compartments is probably 1 inch by inch. And then this other one is, and this might be good for somebody that has some fine motor control, needs something bigger to open. And these are all the same color. So if you have some vision, this might be an option for you. If you don't, if you are more color sensitive and you can't, you want to have some different colors for the days of the week, there are some smaller ones here that we have that are listed, and they're like little 4-packs. It's like a square and it's flat. It's even
more
smaller.
stackable?
It's yes, and it's smaller. So I mean, it would fit in a pocket for a man or something like that. It's about maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches square. And there are 4 compartments in that as well. So you wouldn't be able to hold a lot of medications, but maybe your most important medications like your blood pressure or something like that, that you want to keep in your pocket and make sure you take it the right time of day. So these also come in the days of the week.
And each one's a different color.
And each one's a different color, and they're very compact. You can keep them, by your sink and just take them in the morning, whatever you're doing. But when you're sorting, you can get the whole week's worth sorted. So if you have different, I don't know if you have different days that you take different things,
Okay.
You can make sure you grab the right day and you're all set when you're out and about. So I think do we have anything else that we want to discuss about
We do want to add
medication?
right back to this, what we talked about when we got started, is that here we have that orange tray, that little lunch tray, that is a containment area that we would set up our pill bottles and our medication minder and our bottles right here on the tray. So as I am sorting, if I miss dropping one in and it goes on the tray, I'm going to hear it, but I'll also be able to find it. If you have some usable vision, maybe you can see it with some contrast, but it gives me a smaller area to systematic search with my hand and find it and get it into the proper slot. So these trays there again are a great tool for sorting and organizing.
Not just your medication.
Not just your medication, but
we
other
talked
things
yesterday,
as well.
We talked about your kitchen supplies for something you're going to make. Maybe your, what else would you be doing as you sort? Just getting everything together in one place. So maybe you get all your knives and your utensils on one tray and all your supplies on another tray.
Absolutely.
But the other good thing is these trays are small and they're good. They're lightweight and they make it easy to carry and not bend or anything like that. But until, if you can't do that, then you could use a cookie tray. You could use a small cookie tray.
Dinner plate with a lid.
And if you don't even have that, you could just maybe find something, a box lid, something like that. A what?
Jelly roll pan,
Jelly roll pan?
because those have a nice.
Oh, they have a little lid.
size.
Yeah, so you could do that. Or if that's something you don't have, maybe you're living in assisted living or something like that. I mean, you can always roll out a towel on a table so that they don't roll as far if you do drop something.
Containment.
Contain the pills, yes. And, that's important not only so that you take your medicine correctly, but also, if you do have pets and you drop something on the floor or you have grandkids coming over, you don't want that pill to be on the floor because, they will experiment with it.
Oh, yes.
So we want everybody to be safe, and we want you to learn to manage your medication. And should you have difficulty with that, like we said, there's the Blister Packs and the ScriptTalk, so that you can keep them just in the bottles that you obtained them in.
And certainly as we get into, some more technology, when people are using their smartphones to identify things, that's great. But we're going a little low tech here. And how would you do things in a tactile manner and do that safely? And I think the next thing that we need to talk about is the importance of taking your medication at the regular time, not missing medications, completing a medication. So we do need to talk about also strategies to make sure that you are up to date and receiving your medications, especially right now. There's a lot of restrictions out there, and I know that there's quite a few people who are home sheltering, social distancing, and they don't want to go out and have to be exposed to the general public. You're putting yourself at risk. So I know that I received, I'm a CVS customer, and I generally have someone to give me a ride and pick up my medications, or it's walking distance. I can walk and pick them up, and especially if it's a beautiful day, that's a nice walk. But what happens if my driver isn't able to take me? What if your caregiver, the person who is driving you and picking up, becomes ill or is unable to take you? So I want everyone to consider seriously what are some other strategies that you can put into place in case you need it. CVS sent email to their existing customers, and this one would be per store location, and this isn't their mail order program, which you could get signed up for, but they were talking about if you're unable to get to the pharmacy, they will do home delivery at no charge. So it might not be in the next hour when you call it in. They did say it might take 1 to 2 days, but they would have someone deliver it to your door and leave it for you. So that is an option besides the mail order that you could do. So that's something to think about in that regard. And what other strategies?
Well, I was thinking if you have a monthly medication, maybe see if you can get, especially during this time, get 3 months worth of your medication. Set a reminder for yourself a month prior to it ending, whether a timer on your phone, a date, a reminder, something like that, to call in again and make sure that you have it overlapping, or, be able to get it as soon as you can after it expires. And then also maybe putting, I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Someone had mentioned also when we were calling some of our clients that he had started a new medication and it was maybe not the right one for him. He was having some side effects. So he did a video conference with his physician, and they did a medication change and discussion over the phone and called that into the pharmacy. So there might be some connections you can make with your doctor or pharmacy, whether by phone or a video chat, or if you have someone that could help you do that. I know not everyone's comfortable with a video chat, but even to pick up the phone and have a discussion, at that safe distance, and make some changes in that regard. So it's just something to start thinking about. If you want to get started with, a mail order program, some of you might already be using it. Like Terry was saying, you might want to check with your RX carrier if during this time that you can get a 3-month supply that you would normally be getting a 30-day supply. Let's get you set up and set for 3 months and get that in place. So some of it might be getting on the phone and checking with your RX provider and seeing what's available, and checking with your pharmacy. How are they helping you?
And again, also, like I was just looking at the pill over there with the paper clip on it. Make sure your pets have their meds, because some of them are on daily medication as well. So if you have a pet and you're the only person there, make sure that your veterinarian also knows, so that you can make sure you can manage your pet's medications as well.
And that too, as far as if you need to restrict your contact. I know University Veterinary Clinic, they have a curbside service that if you don't want to come in and make contact, that you can call when you're at the curb. They'll pick up your pet from the car and you can wait outside, and they will do whatever exam and shots or whatever they need to do, and bring your pet back out to you. So it's whatever level you need. And some of it is there again, being a self-advocate. If you are concerned, but you need to get your pet in, go ahead and ask. All you can do is ask. And most of them are being very, very accommodating. And, not just for the vets, but for other professional offices as well, to do a phone conference or some other method to get your needs taken care of. But be a self-advocate. It doesn't hurt to ask.
So I guess now we could have some questions if we can figure out how to get you on.
Well,
here.
Terry,
So-
you are the technical support here.
I feel sorry for you. Let's see. How do I? No, I don't want to end the meeting.
If we delete anyone, we apologize.
Okay, let's see. How do I?
So you can choose to unmute all.
Oh,
Where's that at?
Never mind, I'll do it.
We have remote help here. Thank goodness.
At this point, this is Maddie again. Everyone is unmuted. So if there's questions or comments, this is a good time to bring those up. I do want to tell you that we have several clients on this phone call as well as instructors. So this is a really good time to get any of the questions answered.
I heard someone there.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a method that works for them that we didn't cover they would like to share, or a strategy with home delivery, or anything that they would like to share?
Hi, this is Gloria. I don't know if you mentioned this, but I know this was suggested to us in our classes for medication to use Velcro, the soft side and the rough side.
Yes.
You can identify your medications, maybe the rough side being like the morning medications, because thinking that it's rough, you're thinking about your hair being all wiry and, not all together. And then the softer side being it's the nighttime, thinking that it gives you the idea of something soft, a pillow or something like that. So it can identify your medications for day and night.
I think also yesterday, Kathy was talking about the Velcro. We have for black and white, like
Yeah.
daytime white, nighttime black, if you have some
Yeah.
vision.
The
And
different colors.
Feel also like you're talking about. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
And I love the Velcro dots or squares, because to me it's a BOGO that you've got two ways to label the rough side like that and the soft. So that is definitely a great idea. Yes. We're going to have to label one of these with those.
Yes. Sorry.
Thank you.
You can also even cut them into a shape, like a heart for your heart medication,
Oh yeah.
or something like that. That's another way to do it. But also another way that, especially if people got clients have people that come in and help them maybe caregivers or somebody that comes in once a week or something to have their medications written down in a spiral notebook, telling them what that medication is, what it's used for, just having it like in an area where if somebody comes in and there's not too familiar with that person, that they have that information next to them or next to, somewhere where they can be told where to get it, to let them know about what medications they take, how often they take it, and what they use it for.
Idea, especially in an emergency, then
Right.
I'll ask you, what is this person taking? Well, I don't know.
I think that's a good idea to have it available now too. And if it's something where you can keyboard and even put that on a sheet and have it printed up and have it on hand, so that not only someone coming in to help sort the medication, if you do become ill and need to go in, most of them can see right away, with our computer systems, what meds you're taking, but it's good to have on hand so people know what you're taking.
Keep a copy in your wallet of your medications. So if you're indisposed, they can go in your wallet. They're looking for your ID, your medical
Right.
I think
card.
they're looking
That's
for
a good
cash.
idea.
Well, the cash is aside. Your debit card and your medication list.
Well, they're just checking to make sure your bills are folded properly.
That's right.
That's a really good point, though, Kathy, because we've had people at the Lighthouse before who have become ill, and we don't know what to tell the paramedics when they arrive, like what kind of meds they're on. All I can do is describe what happened. So it would be amazing to have that information. Not only that, but like a phone number for
Emergency
your,
contact.
Maddie?
exactly, your contact.
Right. Maddie, over here, elderly out this way, there's an organization called the SALT. It's called SALT, and it's seniors and law enforcement working together. That's what that means. And every time they meet together, they offer these little they go up, they're little magnet. Matter of fact, there's one that has the magnet on the back, but inside it goes gives you all the information about that person, like their name, their address, their blood type, their doctors, their medications, what they're allergic to, and then you can stick it onto the refrigerator about that person, like for for EMTs or something, fire department or
Like
something.
a microchip or something?
No, this just is in a little paper form, and you put the information in this, and it goes onto your refrigerator.
Okay.
And it has all this information on it, and it is for that whoever lives in the home. If they have any kind of illnesses or they're allergic to something, and if they're unable to speak, the EMTs know to go to the refrigerator, see that, and they can.
That's for your county.
You can find out. I'm not sure if they do it in any other county, but this is called File for Life. And that has been really, really something I think that would be really good for people, especially that we work with the elderly.
I think that's a good point, specific to counties. So if you consider that the Lighthouse covers 5 different counties, there's going to be different organizations who provide different, items for people for that. So I'd highly suggest to get in touch with agencies on aging or adult services if you are looking for something like that, because I know that different counties have a magnet system like that, but I believe Port Charlotte has a different system with a sticker on a red dot on the door or at the entry.
So they know to go looking for it at the refrigerator.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of stuff. And also if you have pets, that's like we've been discussing, that's something to consider too. I know there's stickers for your front door for if in case of a fire, they know to seek for a pet if they have time, I guess. So there's all sorts of stuff. I'd highly suggest get in touch. And I think, is it star 222 or something like that? What is the
11?
for resources?
United
Does
Way.
anyone know off the top of their head?
United Way is 211. I don't know what 222 is.
Let's call it.
211. Oh, yes. Okay. 211 is the phone number to call for local services. So
And
it's a
that's
good
a
place to
nice way.
start if you're seeking information about local organizations for items like that. I loved this. This was amazing. I loved learning about the ScriptTalk app. Can you tell me
Yeah,
about,
I just found that out yesterday.
can you tell me like what that was like? Were there any tutorials that were,
Actually, when you clicked on, what did I click on scan and you set it up top of your thing, it actually pops up a little thing that shows you, well, I guess if you have low vision, it's not going to be that clear because it's very tiny writing, but it shows you and it has a big red circle. Let me see if I can show it on here. So it'll say, put this at the top of your screen, and it shows like a circle where it's supposed to hover. So let me scan. So it pops up a screen
oh yeah.
like that, and it says ready to scan. It says place ScriptTalk label over the ear speaker at the top of the phone, and then there's like, you can see there's a little scan area and a red circle saying, so it shows you right where to put it.
Is it making a noise?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Wants
I
to know
think
where the
it's
prescription
it's
is.
trying to read a prescription that's not there. So didn't mean for it to be
That's very
clucking at
cool.
you.
Very cool.
Breakdown.
So yeah. So that's kind of, and it looks like there's a little help button on the bottom, but it doesn't look like I can get to it.
But
So
if you've got voiceover on, maybe it would work with
yeah, let me
voiceover.
see if I can grab that somehow.
So Terry just downloaded this yesterday to play with it so we could present.
Yeah, we did it like in 1 minute. We was up and running.
So we'll do a little more playing and see what other features it has, but we wanted to definitely bring that, into the conversation today as an option for the tech people out there and those who want to get started with ScriptTalk. It's a free service. So if that's something that sounds good to you, why not give it a try?
And not only does it tell you what it is and what to take, but if you're sorting your pills with one of the pill sorters,
Yeah.
you just do one medication at a time, do the whole tray, and then you move on to the next one. So it makes it nice and organized for you.
One other thing about ScriptTalk to mention is that it's out of Palmetto, so it's really a local company here.
And
Wow.
the app is called ScriptTalk Mobile. And like I said, the app is just, it's not an app icon. It's got a white background with like a black line mortar and pestle and a red blue RX on the front. I don't know if you can see it there.
But if you're using a voiceover,
On the bottom middle.
you can either just ask it to open or when you touch it, it will tell you what it is. So for people using their voiceover program, that it doesn't matter what it looks like. Cool.
But if you are able to use your phone, you can talk to your pharmacy as soon as possible and get those little microchips put on the bottoms of your bottles, and you can start doing that with your next medication.
Nice. Any other questions or additions?
Just
Are
to
we ready?
piggyback off of what you were saying about veterinary clinics, I know that a lot of them are doing that curbside stuff. And what you're reading in the news about coronavirus affecting dogs is untrue as of yet. They're blanketing coronavirus to also mean those other illnesses. They cannot catch the coronavirus at this point, according to WHO. They can't catch the one that is affecting the widespread planet here, but there still are illnesses within that umbrella of illnesses that they can catch. So,
And I think that this is a very, sorry, I didn't cut you off.
go ahead.
That this is a very important lesson we're doing today, because I think the majority, I think I've read somewhere yesterday that a lot of the injury and illnesses caused are from people taking the wrong medication. So even with the ScriptTalk, if you have several people in your house taking medications and you accidentally get your bottles mixed up, it also tells you who the medication is for before it describes it. So
Right.
You'll know, oh, that's not mine. So that's a helpful thing with that also.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you again tomorrow, broadcasting live from the Lighthouse. same phone number and
Okay.
PIN number to log in with tomorrow, 1 o'clock. And we'll have another great day. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Great job, girls. You did really good.
Bye.
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 This is
Oh,
Pam.
Pam, yeah.
What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's going to
What
be
subject?
Tomorrow is
meal prep,
meal prep,
pouring,
and kitchen safety.
and I think marking appliances.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
That's what it was.
We're going to work out the dynamics of that with the laptop camera.
I might be chasing her
Thank
around
you.
the kitchen.
We're gonna have fun.
Great job.
Great job, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Just to
All right.
reiterate, if you want to stop in tomorrow at 1 p.m., it's the same phone number, same link. However you accessed the meeting today, you can still access that information tomorrow. If you set up with an instructor previously that you said you were interested, we will still be giving you a call tomorrow. So
Hey, thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Bye. What do you hit?
Oh, I'm going to figure it out.
Okay.
Any other questions? Nope.
I
Everybody's
think we
gone.
just lost out.
All right, I'm hanging up.